Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have with us, all the way from London, Mr. Sachin Kulkarni, sir, the business consulting manager at Capgemini. After doing his bachelor's in economics, Sachin sir went on to complete his PGDM from IMDR. He is a pass out of a 2005 to 7 batch. After completion of his PGDM, Sir's first assignment was with Future Group as senior executive. After a year, he then moved on to take up the position of Business Development Manager at Ames Digital Learning Solutions. After working with companies like Upside Learning Solutions and Opus Consulting, he took over the responsibility of Business Consulting Manager at Capgemini in 2013 and was located at London, UK. He is responsible for a wide range of activities in his current assignment, and his key roles includes business consulting, client engagement, bid management and pre-sales, account mining and product sales, global business development, etc. In all his KPIs, Sir has been a consistent achiever and a grand performer. His profile brings him out as a highly determined and result oriented professional. He has proven ability to maintain close client contacts, which is an important factor for developing strategic solutions. He comes across as a techno business consultant with more than 13 years of experience focusing on digital transformation, uptake in the banking and financial markets. Some of Sir's previous engagements mention him as a lead consultant and project manager for strategic initiative of Barclays Corporate Bank. Also, he was awarded the Global Business Development Award for Cards and Payments. Sachin Sir is a manager with excellent interpersonal skills, an aspect which perhaps has been a major contributor in his career ascent. Sir will share with us the experience and learning touch-up points from his illustrious corporate career, and I'm sure we all can immensely benefit from it. We all are very eager to listen to you, sir. Over to you, Sachin, sir.
When I say open mind, it is, I would call it a once in a lifetime experience. Of course, it is once in a lifetime for me. I remember the latest was SARS in 2008 or 9. And there, I believe there was a 1 week of curfew in Pune. I was in Pune that time. And after that we thought that, oh, that will go away, that is in China, that won't come here and all that. But this time it has stuck everyone, right? So this is more like a lifetime experience. So I'm sure if at all you talk to your grandpas or grandmas, possibly they would have told you that, oh, our times were different, we had this pandemic, this flu, this plague, this, that, and all that, right? And that's how possibly the lifestyles changed for them, right? So if you see most of tier 2, or for that matter uh, tier 2 or tier 3 countries, right, they always have the sense of saving, or for that matter storage of food grains and storage of things that they will do in their houses and kitchens. So they will have big kitchens, vis-a-vis if you see the Western kitchens, they are very small because they are just operative, right? So if they'll just cook something quickly and eat and go, right, they'll not store much of the space for storage, right? So that aspect possibly came to our grandpa or grandma or our houses for that matter in India because of such experiences. And I believe that going forward, this this experience of COVID is going to teach us a lot of things, right? Especially from an economic standpoint, needs versus wants, right? So we'll try to reevaluate our needs versus wants scenario, isn't it? So sorry, not everyone would want an iPhone going forward. Yeah. So this is more of a lifetime experience. So look at it from that perspective, that okay, this is not going to happen. Possibly, I go with God's grace, this shouldn't happen again, but this shouldn't take place again. But this is one experience or one time that is not going to come again. Look at it from that perspective, you will have a lot of things to do. Yeah. Having said that, this time is also giving us to reconnect with humans, right? One is one reconnection that we are doing at the moment, right, on virtually maybe, but still, I am reconnecting with you, young minds, as well as my professors, right? And it is giving me an opportunity to talk about this experience. Yeah. So that in itself is reconnecting. With that also, I have seen that since the pandemics began, or for that matter in March or April, since then my school friends, we are around 40-50 of us, we always have a video call, or a Zoom call, they call it now, every month, to connect with everyone, to see each other, to talk to each other, to joke around, to go into the memories of our school or college days, right? So we are trying to reconnect again. Yeah, that wouldn't happen even if I was in India or Pune, or for that matter anyone visits to London. I don't even know that, oh, he's coming to London. I see his pictures on Facebook and get to know, oh, okay, he was here. I should have connected. But this pandemic time is giving us time to reconnect with everyone. With that, I would also say rebooting nature. Uh, there are two aspects of looking at it. Of course, animals. You would have seen a lot of news going around in India, and not only in India, even here we saw uh, a big cat just around 15 miles from my place, and it was like, oh, scary. We go for nature walks. We don't even have that single point in our mind that, oh, we might encounter a situation wherein there is a big cat around, right? So but we did, and it was scary when we saw it in the newspaper or articles. Yeah. So of course they are coming around because there's less activity across. Also, people are rebooting, or for that matter the nature is rebooting, because there is no air pollution, and not only cars, but of course flights are not active, right? So hardly 9 or 10% of the capacity is running at the moment, or was running when the pandemic was at the high. So in a way, if you see, the nature is rebooting. No one talks about the glacier layer disappearing now. Yeah. But of course people are more conservant, or for that matter they are more exposed to the nature walks, or they want to go out, they want to appreciate nature. Why? Because they now know that, okay, what is the value of sitting at home, right? What does nature give me if at all I walk out, right? So I have to preserve that. Yeah, that experience. So that is one. Then of course an immense learning experience. Now if you ask me from an industry standpoint, we have got enough of learning sites, online learning. We have enough of emails coming in our organization and across, I'm sure, asking everyone to do some online course, do some certification, do something, reskill, right? So I would say not only in the corporate space, but also from your standpoint as a student, you would get enough time to relook at what you want to focus on, or what you want to learn, or for that matter even just step into a course, take that course and understand whether it is going to create interest for you or not, right? So that is that this time is giving us enough experience from a learning standpoint. uh, the fifth point, I would say, is me time, right? The best me time I would have ever got with me, myself, and my family. Because normally, once you step into a corporate world, 9 to 5 job, or for that matter, even if you start your startup or get into a startup mode, in fact, the life is much difficult in a startup mode. But if you are in a 9 to 5 job, travel time takes hour and a half anywhere in this tier 1, tier 2 world. uh, and once you're back, you're exhausted, right? So you don't get time, you just switch on your TV, sit there, relax, eat your food, and sleep. Yeah. So you don't get your time. But this pandemic has given enough time, whether you're employed or not employed, whether you're learning or not learning, whether you're sitting at home or doing nothing, still it is your time, right? It gives you your peace of mind, wherein you are just within yourself. And in fact, this pandemic has given me a lot of time, not only on weekend but also on weekdays. Yeah, I can concentrate on my exercise routine. I can spend more time with my daughter. I can spend more time helping my wife at the house, right? So lot of things that gives you small pleasures, right? So that is me time for me, right? And of course, the sixth point I would say is disruption. Yeah. So disruption is a big word. Yeah. It possibly came into limelight since Trump started behaving weird, maybe. Yeah, because disruption was there, or is prevalent, but no one used to talk about it aloud, right? So we used to hear about disruption only from a IT or a technology standpoint. We used to hear disruption if at all something major is happening. We used to talk about disruption in a negative way, right? So if at all something happens, if there is a terrorist organization attacking a nation or something like that, there's a disruption. No, disruption, if you see, is has a positive and a negative, right? But in this case it is more of 50-50. Yeah. But there has been a major disruption, and this, I'm not talking about destruction, I'm talking about disruption, and this is a big word. Yeah. So what I think is disruption, in a way, if you look at it from an opportunity standpoint, it is absolutely brilliant because it breaks what you are on now, right? So from your sense, as your students, disruption would be coming out of this educational institute, reputed educational institute, and starting or getting into a startup mode, or get doing something way different in your life, which would possibly help you in building your experience, building your character, more than what possibly earning money is, right? So that would be a disruption, or for that matter, inventing something or getting into research, right, is kind of a disruption for you, because you have been into a regime of completing your grad and post grad, and after that, what everyone expects is a salary figure, right? Five digit salary or 6 digit salary figure. But if at all you do something different, people will feel, oh, this, he's doing something different, but they'll not understand it initially, but they'll, you will yourself realize that, okay, I'm breaking the buzz, I'm doing something different, I will experience something different, and that is what I'm going to cherish for my life. Yeah. So look at it from an opportunity perspective or a positive standpoint, and I'm going to drill down onto this disruption word a little bit more. But before I do that, I would like to understand your views. As I said, it has to be an interactive session, right? And these are my views, right, about COVID. Of course, everyone will have their own views about COVID. So any interesting views, anyone, or questions, or anything that you want to share about your views on COVID?
Sir, this is Shruti.
Yes, Shruti.
Sir, I, I agree with your point about me time and even learning experience. Even our college also um, uh, asked us to get some courses done during this period of time. And talking about me time, I have focused my time on learning on new hobbies.
Right.
And yeah, so it was, even I think it was a good time to, look
Exactly.
within yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely spot on. And I think our friends, student friends, will only understand when they step into a corporate world, because once you get there, the first 3 to 5 years, you are going to get the brunt, right? You cannot uh, spend, or you cannot just take a leave to spend on your me time that time, right? So I would suggest that whatever best you can do in this time, do it. Spend your time on your hobbies, as Shruti ma'am said. Yeah. Spend learning something new, spend some time on doing some art, or for that matter music. Do something which you like, because these days, or for that matter this time, is not going to come back, is what I think, and I'm being optimistic around it. Yeah. So thank you, Shruti ma'am. uh,
Oh, sir, sorry to interrupt, but I'm not ma'am, I'm student Shruti.
oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
still call you
thank
ma'am. Okay. So
thank
Yeah, going forward, it is more about disruption, right? As I said, disruption is a big word, and we should look at it from a positive perspective. So, is it life changing? Yes. Yeah. Disruption is always life changing, and I call this hello. Sorry, I call this time which is absolutely disruptive. Yeah, how it is life changing from a UK perspective is what I'm going to talk about in this slide. Yeah, but before I get into the facts and data, I want to just focus on the few important aspects where the major impact has been in UK. Yeah. So if you call about an economy, or if you talk about an economy, right? Of course, there is socio-economic impact. Right? So there is a social impact. There's economic impact. There's political impact. There's impact on arts and creativity and sports. Hello. Can everyone go on mute, please? Okay. And of course, there is impact on the research and innovation. Yeah. So from a social impact standpoint, of course, everyone's life is disturbed. Yeah. Everyone is looking for because in this world, in the world wherein I'm living at the moment, though I am not closer to my mom or my closer relatives, here people were so crazy to meet their grandparents or their parents, that they were like, so whenever they got a chance after 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they just broke open, right? So more of it, this there has been a lot of social impact, even if in this world you would consider that this world is tier one, and everything is hunky dory, everyone has everything in plenty and all that. That's not how it is. Yeah, there are a lot of social layers in UK as well. There are a lot of homeless guys in UK who has gone or who has taken a lot through this pandemic. Of course, the government has done enough for them, but still, right, it is changing, it is life changing for them. Yeah. Then economic, of course, the industry was completely down for 2 months, 2 or 3 months, even now for that matter. So just to give you a state of mind, UK economy was down, or for that matter, the country was in lock status from March 24th till I think 31st of May. And from June, it started unlocking itself from 8th of June, I believe. And slowly we are going on to an unlock path. Yeah. Things have been much better than before, but where I'm staying, which is Basingstoke, was the maximum hit area. So we were scared for ourselves. Of course, the infection was quite prevalent, and we could see because one of my friend is a surgeon in NHS Basingstoke, and of course he's quite a senior fellow. But we play cricket together, so we were in always contact, right, with each other through a group chat and all that. So he used to tell us situations which were really grim and really scary. So things were very bad, but this economic impact that has happened in the industry, it is immense. You go in any part of the world, whether you go into in Africa, you go into Middle East, you go into Asia or Southeast Asia, or for that matter UK or North America, everywhere there has been an economic impact, and that is going to cause the biggest disruption, right? So earlier the levels were poor, rich or middle class, right? uh, Everyone is struggling, if you ask me. So there was a scenario wherein from an economic sense, the rich were getting richer, the poor were getting poorer, right? And the middle class people were, in a way, in a safe zone. But if you ask me, the poor are getting more poor now. The middle class people are getting poor, and also rich class, even though they have a lot of things at stake, but they cannot make use of their powers, or for that matter, money in this situation. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing, right? And of course, political. And why I'm saying political disruption is that, of course, there has been a lot of hardline around US or Western world, of course, in India overall as well, right? But from a political scenario standpoint, there's too much of tussle, too much of war, or for that matter warmongering that was happening. Now of course we could see that the Cold War is building up. Of course it is going to a level wherein US and China might go on to a war path. Even for that matter, India reacted of course with China. Of course that was border dispute, but you'd never know what was the real reason, right? It might be this COVID disruption. You never know, because China was quite strong, or in fact is quite strong from an economic standpoint than India. But still, there was a clash. So there was a political disruption. Of course, from arts and creativity and sports, which is quite a soft button for me. This has been impacted immensely. So I could see, I have a lot of friends in arts, or for that matter, filmmaking and others areas, right, or creativity and sports. But I could see either they are stuck at home, they cannot use their creativity, or for that matter, even if they use their creativity, it is in a box. Yeah, but still people try to do it, do a lot of things virtually, but you don't get that feel, right? When you are not in front of the stage, or for that matter you're not looking at a live event, right? So everything was disrupted. And of course research and innovation. And even though I would say that research and innovation, of course people have progressed in the vaccine creation, or for that matter researching on the vaccine for COVID-19, but other part of research and innovation is completely hit. Yeah, there used to be a lot of emphasis on cancer research and other areas in the medical field. That is absolutely on standstill. So a lot of people have changed, or for that matter, my friend who was a cancer surgeon, right, or is a cancer surgeon, he said that my specialty is managing cancer patients, but in this COVID times I had to give away that, and I had to help other people or other departments to get onto helping the COVID patients. So there's a lot of focus that has gone into managing this pandemic, and it has created a disruption, right? So this was more of a five set that I wanted to give from an impact standpoint, which I believe has been a major disruption point in the UK economy. Now talking about data, of course this is from government of UK. These are all published figures. So I would want to just emphasize on healthcare, economic, political, and the job scenario, which is of course connected to economic scenario, but specifically on the job. So there are three areas that I've picked up: healthcare, economic, and political. Right, healthcare being the social aspect of it. Right, so healthcare in UK, just to give you a background, is completely government managed. It is under a brand called National Health Scheme. So whenever you enter UK on a work permit, or for that matter you are a resident of UK or EU for that matter, till end of 2020, whatever happens to your health, whether it is just a hay fever or just a fever, or for that matter anything to do with your medical issues, uh, it is government's responsibility. So everything is free. There are hospitals across each and every district, or for that matter town, and that hospital caters to the population within that town. So it's a brilliant scheme. It's a globally acclaimed, accepted, one of the best schemes across the globe that UK has. They have been running this scheme for more than, I think, 50 plus years now. They're doing excellent. They were under pressure end of 2019, but they're doing much better now because of the pandemic. Yeah. So just to give you a perspective of total cases on date in UK, it is around 295k, right? Worldwide it has been hitting 15 million mark, out of which 295k has been in UK. So UK's population is around 66 million. So you can figure out the overall percentage of cases. The deaths, if you see, has been in a number of 45,318. And the interesting fact here has been that 35% of this 45,318 deaths have been from a BAME community, which is the Black Asian minority ethnic. Yeah. So there has been a report that has been published to say that, okay, 65% of the deaths or deaths have been caused for whites, and 35% is between BAME, and which has been a big debate point, right? And why it has happened, I'll just give you a background. Why? Because most of the Black Asian minority ethnic community, right, they work in stores. So they either have mom and pop stores here, they work in the underground, they work or they are always in contact with people. They work at railway stations, they work in the transport industry, they work in the delivery industry, and all that, right? So because of which they have been contacted, or for that matter, they have been contracted with COVID, and the possibility of that has been more. Yeah. So that is an interesting fact, and there's a lot of debate going on in terms of why this community has been the biggest hit. Of course, there's also one more point to it, because we Asians, right, or for that matter, even Africans, if you see, even if we are living in a different country, we will not have a big house, and we'll have a big family. So if at all a family of 6 or 4, for that matter, or consider a family of 6 living in 1 bed or 2 bed, the possibility of catching COVID, even if 2 people go out to get milk or anything, groceries, right, the possibility is more to get infected. Yeah. So that has been one debate point as well. Of course, the funding to NHS has been the topmost priority for UK government, and the biggest challenge till date. Why? Because NHS was the biggest success point for the government. So whenever there is a election in any area, there has been no election wherein they have not spoken about NHS, because that has been the selling point, right? So it was under a lot of pressure in 19. It is still under a lot of pressure, but they are doing much better. Why? Because they've got enough funds from the government now. Yeah. Talking about the economic sense, the economy has experienced a shock. In the GDP terms, it has fallen around 20.4%, which is around 30 billion in gross value. And this has been just for the last quarter and 1 month, right? Uh, so when we talk about GDP, the services has been hit by 80%. The construction industry, which is the backbone of UK economy, we call it, of course, with services, because it is a consumption-led economy, has been 14%. The production has been 6%, right? So if you see the spread between services, construction, and production, services is 80% hit. And when you talk about services, it is more about transportation, delivery, hospitality, all that, right? Or tourism, for that matter. So it has completely hit. The overall GDP of UK for UK is expected to shrink by 9%, which is like a huge hit, right? I don't know what perspective they will have for 2021, for that matter. Brexit on the brink, right? We are expecting Brexit trade talks to finish this month, but we are expecting UK to completely come out of EU by end of December 2020. Yeah. The tourism and food industry has been impacted 88%. Of course, no one coming in, no one roaming around, right? Taking pictures, eating outside food. Even if you talk about pub food, yeah, no one going there. So it's like 88% of tourists have reduced, and I don't know how much time it will take for the tourism industry to recapture itself. Why? Because in UK, tourism most of the, or for that matter, 60 to 70% of the tourism happens in this period, which is May to August. Yeah. And the entire period, if you ask me, has been hit. The production sector has been impacted by 20%. So these are just some figures for you to just digest, to get an impact of the industry, so that you have an idea that, okay, UK being the richest country, or for that matter, one of the richest country in the world, has been impacted immensely. If you ask me, government has taken a loan of around 200 billion pounds from the World Bank to manage this COVID pandemic, which has been Absolutely significant. Why? Because the last time when they borrowed around 100 plus billion was World War II, and only after that, this time they have borrowed 200 billion plus to manage the economic mess, right? So I don't know, I'm sure it is going to take 3 to 4 years or 5 years time to recoup. Yeah. uh, Talking about the political sense, of course Brexit was around the corner, has been a big disruption point. uh, it is a big political game, if you ask me, and no one knows what is going to happen after Brexit. So even people, for that matter, voted 51 to 49%. Even 51% people didn't knew what is going to happen after Brexit. Yeah. So it was absolutely a political disruption. There are cold wars, as I mentioned, China and EU and US and China, India and China. Everyone is at war with each other, whether upfront or from a diluted perspective. Everyone is looking at each other skeptically. Of course, from if at all you see the world order, the Western world is quite intact even in this pandemic. Yeah. So, but if you look at Asia, or if you look at Africa, or you look at Middle East possibly is, but yeah, they are breaking out there as well, right? So it has been a really a disruptive situation. Things were expected to fall in place, but it is now going to take a lot of time. And the immigration climate is rough, right? A lot of immigration is on hold. You must have known that US has stopped all the immigration routes till December 2020. Uh, UK is opening up, but even now, what they will do is that they will not prefer Europeans coming here and working. They have opened it across the board, right? So it's good news for Indians, good news for Asians to work in UK, but there has to be enough jobs, because post Brexit, we don't know what is going to happen and how the industry is going to recoup. Yeah. Uh, I'll just move this up. And jobs. Yeah, this has been the fascinating point, right? Wherever you go, this has been the socio-economic and political point wherein everyone tries to debate, oh, jobs will increase or reduce and this and that. But if you talk about a Western world, it is quite structured, or for that matter, formalized. So if at all there is a job loss, it is accounted for, not like in India, right? Though of course government is working on it in India to make it more formalized, but here it is absolutely formalized. So if at all you lose a job, you have to report it to the home office. Yeah. So that's how it happens. Everything is very well structured. UK has taken like 30% of the UK headquartered financial companies are setting up branches in EU, and that is the background of Brexit, of course. But post COVID, that number is going to increase. Yeah, the expected number is around 10 to 15% more companies will try to go out of UK. Why? Because UK is expected to raise taxes in order to recoup the economy. Yeah. uh, Around 7 to 7.6 million people, 25% of the workforce is at risk of job losses at the moment, or for that matter have lost the jobs. If you ask me, government of UK did a lot of they did a very good job. Yeah. What they did was that they introduced a furlough scheme, which I'm going to come to, and they covered all the furlough employees and said that, okay, we'll pay you every month X amount to keep your survival. None of the country has done that, right? Possibly US has given 1,200 dollars per month to all the citizens, but UK has done much more, and that's where this debt comes up with. Yeah, 200 billion. Of course, the low skilled jobs are the most hit. High skilled jobs still virtually in existence. What I meant to say here is that jobs which are prevalent in the malls and shops, in and around transport and delivery industry or supply chain have been hit a lot, right? But if you ask me about virtual jobs, like the way I'm earning at the moment, or for that matter, surviving, uh, it is not hit. In fact, my workload has increased 20 to 30%. So I used to finish my job at 5 o'clock dot before COVID. Now I'm working till 8, 9 o'clock in the night. So of course, the work has increased, but the value of the job has also increased. So this is more like a disruption or a view that I wanted to give from a data standpoint, as well as from the 5 areas that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Any questions on this?
Yeah. I am Dr. Abhijit Shune.
Yes.
I would like to ask one question. Like, there is a debate going on in India that will the industry shift from China to India?
Mm-hmm.
And uh, as I understood that you are interested in socio-economic changes, how do you look at it? Even though it is not related to UK, this is the first question. And the second question is this UK being a very rich country,
Mm-hmm.
but now, as you said, supply chain has been affected,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the people rely on service
Mm-hmm.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in comparison to India, because in India we have
Yeah.
agriculture,
Yeah.
manufacturing,
Yeah.
and if the people lose job, they go to agriculture. Don't you see this is an advantageous situation for India to look at
Absolutely.
agriculture?
No, no, absolutely. So I'll just go one by one, right? To your first question, India and China scenario. Of course, I'm not an expert to be honest, but I can give my view. Wherein, of course, it is an advantageous situation for India. The world is looking at China in a different way, right? China in itself is facing a lot of trouble and issues internally as well as externally. And if what I feel is that, of course, if at all uh, the Indian population gets trained or skilled in a way wherein possibly the government of India pushes it or promotes it, or there happens to be a drive wherein people are upskilled to a level that they can fit into these jobs. Of course, India will do well. Yeah, but there has been, or what I would say is that there is a gap between the skill was of India versus skill of China. Yeah, when it comes to manufacturing, especially because if you go to China, they are excellent in manufacturing, right? Even though, of course, they must be they of course manufacture at one third of the cost, but if at all you see the quality is not that great in comparative to India, but they are in terms of volume they are excellent. They are managing the world volume at the moment, or for that matter till end of 2019, right? So replacing China from an India standpoint would be a challenge, but also an opportunity, and is the biggest opportunity for India to turn around. Why? Because we have been relying on agriculture, like 70% of the population relies on agriculture, and we've been learning around this for last 20, 30 years, right? Or in fact, since independence, of course, but we've been learning around about it since 20, 30 years that agriculture is our main priority and all that. But if at all you turn, of course there has to be a disruption, right? And of course there are a lot of good things happening in agriculture. Agriculture is the best backbone for any economy, I believe. But if at all you concentrate a little bit more on manufacturing, you skill your labor or skill your population to a level that okay, you can manage the manufacturing outputs, of course there's a big opportunity, is what I think. Yeah. And does that answer, sir?
Yes, yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
One more perspective I would like to hear from you. Now you
Yes.
are residing in UK, and
Yeah.
you have been there in India for a long time. Recently, I think you might have gone there. Right? What kind of difference did you see in education? Like, because we
Right.
always talk about education, and we being education institution, right?
Yeah.
Particularly this technical education and school education. What are
Right.
your viewpoints on this
To be honest,
comparison?
India's education is the best education that anyone can get. Yeah. Even my daughter goes to the school. there's a lot of soft skills that you learn in this country or in the Western world, but you can anyways learn that, right? But if when you talk about the crux of your learning, India is the best in that way. Why? Because it is robust, it is strict, uh, it gives you an quite an expanse. So just yesterday evening, right, I had guests coming over for dinner, and they have a daughter who is now going to university, and I asked her, how many subjects do you have as specialization, and she said, I have 3 subjects per term, which is like 3 subjects. I was like, 3 subjects, just 3 subjects? She's like, yes, just 3 subjects, and that too we have only 3 classes a week. So now you understand the overall focus or overall perspective of education, where it is going, right? From a specialization perspective, I understand, but from your start of schooling or preschool to your higher education to your university, all that, there's not enough exposure that students get here in this country, if you ask me. Yeah, our students are much more exposed to various aspects, whether it is subjects, whether it is specializations, whether it is a mix of art and academics, as well as they are quite adaptive to situations. For that matter, I take my example. I completed my postgrad in IMDR, right? After IMDR, I worked in India and then moved to UK. But when I moved to UK, the biggest point that I was able to survive here was my adaptation to this world. Yeah, because things, if you just feel that, oh, you're working in UK and there are challenges that you go through, right? Not that everyone is welcomed, right? Even if your boss is from an Asian perspective. My boss initially was Asian, then I had a South African boss, then my boss changed to a Brit boss, and now I have a Brit boss. But there are a lot of cultural variations you go through, right? And this adaptation will only in fact, this adaptation I went through was only because of my education background, right? That happened in Pune, for that matter, in India. So Indian education is quite robust, quite exposure friendly, gives you a lot of wings, I would say. uh, if at all you want to do specialization, then of course you can think of going to the Western world, but uh, my view is Indian education is the best.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah,
Uh,
thank you for elaborate answer.
yeah, no, of course, and it will always be favorite and always be the best answer from my side as well. Uh, Coming to your second question, UK supply chain services scenario, right? So for the students, right, I would like to tell you that this entire Western world is, of course, you must be knowing that it is consumption led economy. Only if I go out and eat food outside or shop in the mall, the I'm going to contribute to the economy. Yeah, that is how they perceive it, and that is how it's built actually. So uh, this has been hit, right, from a services standpoint. And uh, UK supply chain has been the robust supply chain. Why? Because of course the geographical this thing is not huge expanse, but the overall supply chain is also structured here, right? Not like in India, that there are places which are very densely populated, and there are some places which are not, right? So it's a difficult scenario to manage from a supply chain standpoint. But and specifically I'm talking about supply chain from Amazons of the world. Yeah, in UK it has been absolutely robust, but of course there has been a disruption there as well. So I have my Amazon Prime account, wherein I Amazon guarantees me a 1 day delivery, right? But during COVID times, whenever I used to order anything, masks or anything for that matter, for my family or home consumption, I used to have a 3 to 5 day delivery time, right? So even that was disrupted. So of course there has been a disruption there, is what my point is. Of course, India, from an India standpoint also, a lot of people will move on to virtual buying now because of COVID. They are already buying food online, right? Your dinners are coming online, or getting delivered, right? So all that perspective is going to change slowly. uh, does that answer your question, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
One the one aspect which I actually I would like to ask about. is that now because uh, food, like agriculture, is very small piece of economy in UK. So from where do they get all the stuff? And that supply chain might have affected because of COVID. That
Yes.
was my
Yeah.
question actually.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. So I read it differently, but absolutely spot on. UK economy depends on a lot of imports. They just grow potatoes and strawberries. Yeah, they don't grow anything like multigrain stuff. Okay, so most of the stuff comes from Europe, Africa, Asia. Yeah. So during the COVID times, of course, everyone was living on needs, right? Yeah, yeah. So home stuff, toilet papers, medicines, right? All these three categories from stuff or food for that matter, four were the most focused priorities, right? And the government of UK managed it quite well. So they had enough of stock for all these four categories, and they managed it quite well by distributing across the country. Of course, there was panic buying in UK as it was in India, or in fact, it is still now there. But uh, the overall sense that prevailed later after 4 5 days was like, okay, UK has enough. So they made an announcement on the fourth or fifth day of when the lockdown was going to get announced. Before that, saying that we have enough stock in place to go for a couple of months, and that was enough for the confidence of people, right? So those measures were taken properly by the government to ensure that all these basic necessities or important stock is available or made available to the population. Yeah, even for that matter, I ate mangoes in the COVID times, which were delivered at my place, just as an example. And those were Alfonso mangoes, which came from Konkan, right? So
Yes.
that is the best example. So even in COVID times, I got my mangoes delivered at home. Yeah.
Good.
So
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Any more questions, or we can move on? Sorry, I'm possibly Shruti ma'am. I'm going to take a little bit longer. Is that okay? Because looking at time, I didn't
That's fine,
expect.
sir. That's absolutely fine, Sachin.
Perfect. Thank you.
No
Uh,
problem. You can continue.
yeah. Thank you, sir.
I am through.
Okay. Thank you. Uh, okay, now coming to the measures, right? So we looked at disruption, what happened in UK, what scale, what percentage, what is the data that we believed in. But from a government standpoint, I have never seen a government, or for that matter, once in a lifetime, I had an opportunity to witness a government taking these measures, and these are unprecedented. Okay, and when I say unprecedented, absolutely believe me, because I've been critical of the government in managing Brexit and other stuff that goes on. So we have a lot of debates that happen in pubs wherein we say, oh no, government is not doing good, conservative is not good, Labour is good, this, that, and all that, right? But still, I would give possibly A plus to this government, wherein in terms of managing this pandemic. So they have closely worked with WHO, of course, and ensured strict lockdown measures, of course. But now people say that those were 7 day with 7 day delay, because India, I believe, got locked down on 13th of March, but UK got locked down on 24th of March, which was like 8 to 9 days later, and should have been earlier, is what they say. That would have managed, or for that matter, minimized the impact. They announced a rescue package of 330 billion to assist businesses struggling with the economic emergency. That is huge, right? So look at the mass, or for that matter, look at the money that they have. Yeah. So when we say UK is the richest country, of course it is rich. 330 billion pounds is like huge. Yeah, for only for businesses, that too. Yeah. They introduced a business interruption loan scheme, which is loans up to 5 million to businesses. So earlier, businesses used to have, or they were supposed to submit their 5 year plans, next 5 year plans, this, that, and all that, right, to get money from the banks. And here government played a really good task. Why? Because they had to employ people, right? And even after doing that, we are seeing a lot of British Airways people getting laid off, a lot of British businesses laying off people, putting them off furlough and all that, right? But 5 millions to businesses, backed banks to grant a mortgage holiday up to 3 months for homeowners. Of course, India, I think, also did that, wherein you get a mortgage holiday. But here we also got a credit card holiday for that matter. So a lot of spending in UK happens on credit cards, right? Uh, so the payment term is like every month you have to pay, right? A minimum balance. But in this country, they gave us a 3 month waiver that you can pay after 3 months. We understand that you have to pay your rents and this and that. So don't pay your credit cards right now, you pay it later. So they gave us that option. And the best scheme that they have introduced is no stamp duty on new house purchases till 21 March. And this has taken everyone's eyeballs, if you ask me, because stamp duty is like a huge amount when it comes to buying houses in this country. And here, uh, if at all you ask me, it is not like India. People change their houses every 3 to 5 years or 10 years, possibly. They don't like to stay in a house for long unless you are old. Yeah. So they keep on changing. They try to keep on using mortgage benefits and all that, right? So from that perspective, a lot of people are absolutely looking at a new house at the moment. Uh, 25,000 cash grants. These were given to smaller businesses like mom and pop stores who don't have insurance. So that way they help them also to survive. A 5 billion emergency response package to NHS, which was on top of the existing $1 billion package or £1 billion package to NHS. The Bank of England announced an interest rate cut from 0.75 to 0.25%, which is like a huge cut. It may go to negative, is what they're saying, going forward by October. 100 billion funding scheme aimed at maintaining bank and building society lending. And these are big figures, right? And I'm sorry if at all I have disappointed you by giving you only the big figures. But no, if believe me that these figures run the economy, yeah, for UK. And this is the amount that everyone was hoping for. Not even the opposition leader in the parliament, UK parliament, was able to defend and say, or for that matter, contradict and say, no, you've not done enough. They were appreciative of this entire figure or amount, right? Furlough scheme, for that matter, as I mentioned. So government to pay up to 80% of wages, up to a maximum of 2,500 per month, and 9 million people availed the scheme till May. Yeah. So basically, what they did was that next 3 months, if at all a business is putting you on furlough. Now, furlough for everyone's benefit is a term wherein you are put on a temporary holiday. So if at all you work, I'm working for Capgemini. Capgemini says, "Oh, I don't have money to pay your salary. What I'll do is that can you do one thing? Can you go on a furlough for 3 months or 6 months, wherein I don't pay you, but I employ you. So I give you a guarantee that you can come back to office after 3 months or 6 months, but I'll not pay you any salary. But it gives me a guarantee that I have my job safe. Yeah, it gives me a break for 3 months or 6 months, and people do that, right? So in that furlough scheme, I was guaranteed by the government that okay, even if got laid off, or for that matter, I'm on furlough, I get 2,500 per month to keep my house running. Yeah. Allocated additional 3 billion to NHS for second wave. This is interesting because the second wave is not yet here, and what they say is that there will be a second wave in the month of September or October, and the government has already given 3 billion on top of 5 billion that they allocated to NHS. Yeah, so this is a kind of response that government has made. Of course, uh, it is not completely 100% foolproof. Why? Because this is just economical. There has to be an empathy from the government to also ensure that people are being taken care of. Yeah, which possibly would come subsequently when they understand the overall impact. Yes, anyone has a question? Hello. Are we good? Okay. So these are the measures. I hope there are no questions. If there are, please let me know. You can interrupt me. And then we go ahead, which
Niranjan,
is
one student was asking question.
sure, sure.
Yes, Niranjan. Pradyum?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, your question, please.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know that IT companies were pretty much comfortable working from home pre-COVID. So how is it different during COVID for them?
I'm not sure whether they were comfortable working from home pre-COVID. If you ask me, was is your question post-COVID or how they are managing it, or
So
pre-COVID?
during COVID, how are they managing? Because IT companies had policies that employees can work from home, and
Yes.
is it
Uh,
difficult for them now?
Not absolutely not. Why? Because to be honest, in order to keep your house running, or for that matter, keep your company running, keep your clients happy, keep your business as usual, they had to do that. In fact, Capgemini, if you ask me, don't issue doesn't issue laptops to everyone, right? Whoever who joins Capgemini, but because there is sensitive data that you work on, right? So for that matter, my team works for Barclays Bank, right? And we handle a lot of client customer data, which is absolutely, of course, it is insured, but absolutely critical to their business. And banks don't like people taking their laptops home and accessing their data outside their premises. Yeah, normally. But in this situation, they had to do it. Why? Because they had to keep the company running, and the only way to do it was to ship their monitors back to the associates home. So what we did as Capgemini is that we identified around 1,000+ people or more than that, and we shipped monitors that they used to work on, their desk monitors, back their home. We couldn't manage the laptop impact that we had initially. So what we did that, okay, we got in touch with our supply chain team. They managed the drop over of the desktops and computers and connectivity. They ensured that the person is connected to the LAN, the VPN, and everything, and he's able to work as normal as he was supposed to. So actually, this has been a really good blessing for all the people who wanted to work from home. Uh, Also, I understand where your question is coming from, wherein you're saying that, okay, if at all people are working from home, are they really loyal and working from home? That is a question, absolutely valid question. But uh, if you ask me, if you're in a professional environment, if you're working from home, you have to work from home, right? You have to deliver. If you're not delivering, you will not have your job. So instead of not having your job, you spend your whatever full day working from home and getting paid end of the month is quite important than just not doing anything, isn't it? Does that answer
Yes,
your
sir.
question?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir.
Yeah. And also, of course, from a BCP standpoint, so all these IT companies have a BCP plan, which is a business continuity plan, right? And everyone, if you ask me, everyone has switched over to a BCP route. Normally, in an IT company or a banking or a financial enterprise, the BCP is that if at all I'm working in, say, this building, and if at all this building goes off, or for that matter, the connectivity fails, or there's a terrorist attack on this building, or this gets into a fire mode and all that, uh, I have the active environment present in a location which is far from this building, which is like possibly in a different uh, 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 town, or for that matter a different city, right? So if at all you are working in Pune, and the BCP would be Chennai. If at all you're working in Chennai, the BCP would be Bangalore. Yeah. So there are BCP sites that are identified, but in this COVID situation, which no one would had anticipated, the BCP plan failed. Why? Because we couldn't manage people going into that office. So we had to ensure that there is a BCP plan B instead of plan A. So So it's like very difficult, and all of them have managed the situation quite well, if you ask me. Does
Yes,
that answer?
thank you, sir, for the answer. Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you.
Hopefully. Okay, thanks. Okay, moving on. Some interesting facts. We are coming to an end of this deck, but some interesting facts which I wanted to mention and possibly come to an end of my uh, talk. Corona is the most Googled word globally and also in UK for 2020, which replaces Brexit. So Corona gets the hey from everyone. Huge hit for Corona beer brand. Now you'll say that, oh, you're coming on the topic, but it has seen drop in sales by 82%, 182 million pounds of losses. They are thinking of rebranding. Who would have thought, isn't it? Now, if at all there is another pandemic coming, if you name it as Budweiser or Kingfisher for that matter, who would know, right? So uh, that's an interesting fact. 85% of the professionals don't want to go back in UK. Yeah. So to your point, everyone is working from home. There was a survey that was being carried out, and whoever was working from home, they were being asked whether you want to go to the normal, the previous normal. They said no, we are quite happy working from home, we would love to work from home. So if you don't be surprised if at all you see offices asking you to come to office only 3 days a week or 4 days a week, right? Because not that everyone wants to go back to work. All BCP plans have been activated, but of no significant use. I just mentioned that point in your answer, last answer. UK government has spent more than 200 billion to manage the impact without definitive outcome. Of course, everyone is spending, but spending for what? They don't know. They are actually preparing themselves for a second wave. So it is too contradictory, isn't it? So it is all fun. Yeah, circus. People are protesting for not wearing masks, even though it is a scientific advice. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that in terms of nonsensical? And what happens if at all you wear a mask? Yeah, you protect yourself and others, isn't it? It's that that's the basic human tendency that anyone would have. But people are protesting. I don't know why. You would have heard, or for that matter, read news about Trump not in for masks. He himself is not deciding whether he's for masks or against masks, isn't it? So absolutely funny. Digital transformation is now driven by COVID instead of a company vision or a CEO. Yeah. So earlier, when you step into an organization, they will have their values and vision and all that. And digital transformation will always be one of the vision statements. But it's of no use because uh, digital transformation doesn't happen over time, but COVID made it over time, right? Everyone is going into digital transformation. And when I say digital transformation, AI, ML, yeah, everything is coming into picture now. Everyone is talking about that. And no one is talking about Java, .NET, Microsoft, this, that, right? These are outdated. Now in tech world, it is more about AI, whether you know cloud, whether you know data management, whether you know big data, whether you know blockchain. All these things are important. World stock markets are back in green. How come? I don't know. The world is dying, for that matter. It is rebooting itself. It shouldn't be a based recovery, isn't it? But it is in green. How come? That's strange. New normal will replace the word normal, of course. That is inevitable. It may take 9 to 12 months to find a vaccine on coronavirus, but we'll get there, is what my view is. Even though everyone is competing that, oh, India and UK are joining hands, US is doing that, Russia is doing this, that, all that, right? But of course, it will take time because it is not quite easy. And the overall, if in order to manage the significant impact, of course, it will take 9 to 12 months, in my opinion. Yeah. So these are some of the interesting facts. If at all anyone has any other facts, please share. I'm open for that. And any questions? I hope it was not quite heavy from a data standpoint, or for that matter, repetitive or boring. I hope you were able to spend
Hello, sir.
some good time and get some insights.
Yes, sir. No doubt. It's very interesting, sir.
Thank you. It was absolutely. I didn't want to stick to any guideline or any thing. I just wanted to share my views, and these are my views. These could be contradictory. Everyone is entitled for their views, but of course, I hope you had some learning out of this session. All the best to you
Sir, we
for
have
your.
some questions. Can we take?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. No,
Yes, Shubham.
absolutely.
Hello.
Yes,
Good afternoon, sir.
yes, Shubham.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
Shubham.
yes, Shubham, you are audible. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Sir, I had a question that with UK coming out of European Union, how would India pitch itself for a major partner? Because there was news that India and UK were going with a free trade agreement. How would
Yes.
that impact both relations?
Absolutely, and perfect question because India and UK are in talks of a trade agreement. I'm not sure whether it will be a free trade agreement because free trade agreement gives a lot of access to each other's markets. UK is, if you ask me, because of Brexit, UK is in dire need of getting trade agreements signed. Yeah, because they just have 5 months left now. They were supposed to be in a position wherein they agree a trade agreement with EU, but they haven't reached any situation there. We may have a hard Brexit. In terms of hard Brexit, of course, they will have to look at countries outside EU, predominantly Asia, like India and Bangladesh and Vietnam and others who are like manufacturing capacities and exporting capacities. So if that happens, that would be a golden sparrow in India's this thing. Why? Because in UK has a lot of consumption capacity. If that happens, there will be a lot of exchange in terms of trade, people, culture, all that. Just a lot of learning that UK will be able to take from India because it is not in a situation wherein UK is ahead of India, I would say. Yeah, UK is on doldrums at the moment. They have to learn. They have to depend on a partner, and the best partner that UK could have is India, is in my opinion. But yeah, trade agreement is in discussion. They have also opened up the immigration route from 2021, and that benefits India. So if you ask me, the vice chancellor who manages cash for UK is Rishi Sunak, right? Who is the son-in-law of Narayan Murthy, yeah, Infosys CEO of or whatever founder. So there are a lot of emphasis from the Asians to reconnect back. So I'm looking at it positively.
But sir,
Yes, a lot of echo.
Abhijit, sir,
Does
could you?
that answer your question?
sir, I had one question with it.
Yes,
Hello, am I audible? Hello,
Yes,
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 yes.
please.
sir. With the main aim of Brexit was as European Union was free for travel. Most of the other citizens of neighbor countries used to come to work in Britain. So would that be a case if immigration norms are normalized for Indians? Would that same situation would arise that you Indians taking the jobs of the Britons?
So there are two aspects, right? Coming to the later part of your aspect, of course, Indians are taking Britain's jobs, British people's jobs. But when it comes to EU or Europeans traveling to UK and working here, or for that matter, I have colleagues who fly in the morning from France or Amsterdam, do their work or attend some meetings and fly back in the evening. So it is like couple of hours flight, right? So it's quite easy, but we could not see that much influx going forward from Europe. Why? Vis-a-vis British people going to Europe. Why? Because earlier it was free, but now, of course, government of UK is introducing norms wherein you have to carry your documents, you have to fill this form, you have to pay X amount of money, which is like peanuts, 15 quids or 10 quids or something like that. But you have to pay some amount in order to cross over all that, right? So there are a lot of questions over this, and the British government is working on that, and that's where the trade agreement with EU is important. If at all we have a hard Brexit scenario, all these situations like free travel and all that is going to hit a lot, right? So valid question, valid point, but in my opinion, even if India and UK have a free trade agreement, the free travel or immigration from India to UK similar to EU to UK won't happen. Yeah. So it won't be like you just sit on a plane and enter UK and get your passport on the terminal, or further a visa on the terminal and enter UK. It won't happen like that.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any more questions? Anyone? I think.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Abhijit Shivne. I
Yes.
have one more question. I asked many questions, but
Yeah. No
I
worries.
thought I can't stop myself at
Absolutely.
this moment because this is related to Brexit. See, what made them think of coming out of the economy of European Union? Because looking at the economy of UK, which is quite dependent upon the investment by other countries in the European Union. Because I
Right.
could see that the London is like Mumbai, where suppose if we consider Maharashtra as a country, so England is like a country, and there most of the corporate offices are there. So
Yeah.
all the corporate offices, even for that matter, Nokia's office was in London, right?
Yeah.
Actually, the company was from Finland. So all these advantages England had or have with having tie-up with European Union, and
Absolutely.
being having these advantages, like you said just now, that people traveling from London to Amsterdam or somewhere in Netherlands or Holland or any other part of the European Union. But now that advantage will go, right? What made them think of going out of this economy? What is the
Right.
major reason?
Right. A funny analogy for that matter I would make is, you mentioned Maharashtra, like it is a shape of Maharashtra, or it is the size of Maharashtra, right? So UK had Raj Thakre at that point of time, wherein he was of the opinion or perspective wherein, oh, we will do everything, we don't want outsiders working for us, this, that, and all that, right? Go back and all that. Go back, Simon. So no, but keeping funny side aside, to be honest, I consider Brexit is a very good decision for UK. Why? Because it was so reliant on others, and it was doing well, no doubt. But would it sustain for coming years, right? Coming challenges? Yeah, I would doubt that. Because there has been a lot of influx in terms of trade wars, or proxy wars, or soft wars that are going on. Uh, I feel that Brexit is going to give them a perspective of self-sufficiency and self-dependency. They will have to innovate. They will have to look at other options. They will have to work a little bit harder to ensure that their house is in order. And no point in time than doing it now, I would say. Earlier, I was of the opinion, as you would also pointed out, that it was going all fine. Why to do it? And that's where this point of disruption come in, right? So everyone is looking at disruption. Why? Because if you see from a manufacturing standpoint, or from a manufacturing terminology standpoint, right? Once you reach a level, you reach a threshold. After that, there's only a point wherein you go down. I understand from an economic standpoint also, for countries to run, right? There is a point wherein you come to a level that, okay, after that there's nothing for you to do go up, and disruptions only help you in exploring the unexplored. And I think UK is in this phase at the moment. Of course, by Brexit, dependency is an important thing, but they will also look at innovative markets, or for that matter, innovative industries like research. Right. So currently they are more service focused. Right. They are more finance. Banking and finance is the crux for services in this country. But now they will look at other research areas. They will look at AI. They will look at other options or other areas wherein they could excel, they could do well. They have excellent education organizations like Cambridge and or Oxford and others who are doing excellent, but they are not able to realize that value when it comes to research, is what, in my opinion, comparative to the other industries. So they might do that, right? So the overall polls might shift, but they will survive and they will do well, is in my opinion. Right. Only one point is that they will have to do trade agreements. In fact, it opens doors for them. Earlier, Britain used to do whatever EU used to have, right? So they could, so there were agreements in place that, okay, you can, if at all you want to import bananas, you have only these three countries that you can select and you can import bananas from. Now they will have 10 countries from where they can get bananas, isn't it? So that gives them an open door, in my opinion, and that is a big economic sense there, that these political people have seen. So look at it from a opportunity standpoint rather than a hindrance. Does that
Yes,
answer your
yes,
question?
definitely. Yes, yes, definitely. Because if you look at innovations, and if you look at 19th century history, England was leading in innovation because
Okay.
most of the innovations took place in England and Germany. Now
Okay.
it has been taken over by US. Now this, as you said, that this may lead to better innovations in England. And as I know, British people are the most intelligent people in the world, and they
I
may, like, the
I
first
I I,
vaccine will come from England only. That
I
also
would
I
disagree.
am.
Okay. No, sorry for that, but I would disagree with that. The most intelligent people are Indians, in my opinion.
Yes, I do agree.
So yeah, but yeah,
But
good point.
if you look at output, right, in terms of output that is delivered by such a small country, right, look at their area and size and
Yeah,
number, the population. If you look at the output and productivity in the last 200 years, England was leading, although, and they ruled the
because
world. So
yeah,
that is
because
because of their innovation
no, not innovation. They captured the world, isn't it? Forcefully.
and business.
That's why they got money, isn't it? We know the history.
Business.
So
Yes.
Sachin, next
yeah,
time you are in
Okay.
Pune, we have a debate on this.
absolutely. Open debate.
Absolutely.
No. I mean, of course, I respect your opinion, but I would still feel that British people, actually, they had nothing to do. They don't have much to do here because the weather is so bad that they had to go out of this country and explore. And while exploring, they captured people, or for that matter, countries, and that's how they got wealthy back in UK. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone outside. If at all, we would have had Caribbean like weather here. None, we wouldn't see a single British guy in India. On a funny note, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes, Aarti.
Hello, sir. My question is, has Capgemini made any roadmap for post-COVID situation?
Yes, of course. Quite anxiously as well as intelligently, they have chart out uh, the pre or post COVID scenario. We are preparing ourselves for a post COVID scenario. uh, uh, Earlier, what happened was that the first quarter or the second quarter, in fact, we no one knew the impact of this pandemic, right? What would happen, whether the jobs would go or remain, or how would the client react, whether there will be enough investment, whether they will stick to their promises, whether things will still get delivered, whether there will be a change in appetite, or for that matter behavior of even employees for that matter. So now companies like Capgemini have got an understanding that, okay, this is how possibly things would change in all aspects, and they have started working on a roadmap to come out of this, but in terms of come out of this only economically. So they have started taking measures. Of course, you would have seen some news that we've had some layoffs across the globe, but those layoffs anyways happen every year. Okay, so nothing to worry that way, because if you ask me, 5 to 10% of the people anyways are useless in any organization. So they're just there for fun for that matter. So we will see a lot of stringent measures coming up, a lot of work from home policies introduced. Capgemini was quite open. If at all you would work from home, uh, they 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 would promote that in a particular situation, as well as otherwise. But now they are starting to build a proper work from home policy, wherein they say that, okay, you have to have you have to be in the office for X number of days in a month. So in any way you manage it anyways, right? You come for the entire week, or you don't come for 3 weeks and just come for the last week. So all that new innovations or new policies will come in place, and we will see a lot of change. In fact, just to quote the TCS CEO, right? He's expecting only 25% of the workforce coming back to office until 2025, or for that matter, working from offices. So we could see a lot of change in the real estate, because we wouldn't see IT parks getting built. We couldn't see corporate offices getting built. We would see, possibly, I would love to see big parks coming back, wherein they break all the IT parks. No one is going to offices. Everyone is working from home. I have a lot of friends who work for startups, even in this country. Now, their startups, they cannot afford paying rent, so they've given that back, and they're working from home. So, and that's how the policy is going to go in terms of IT world. Does that answer or give some perspective?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? I hope. I think I'm not able to
Sir,
see any participants.
may I ask questions, sir? Shruti here.
Sure. In fact, I would love to have
Yeah.
questions from faculties, if at all there are any, so
On
that
behalf
I
of
get my learning
students.
as well. This.
Sir, on behalf of students. Sir, considering present scenario, business models are moving towards truly digital ecosystem, right? So, what kind of skill set our students should develop to meet the industry requirements?
Right. Absolutely apt question, Shruti ma'am. And I would say that if you see after 2020, not only because of COVID, but the world was changing in a way, and now world will change a little bit faster from a tech standpoint. Every single job that you do after MBA, once you enter in an organization or a corporate world, you will have to have a technical bend. Yeah, and when I say technical bend, it is not manufacturing or electrical and all that, but you need to have a technological bend in terms of, you need to have some skill, whether it is playing with data analytics, whether it is just being the master of PPTs or to start with, or learning a particular software. So if at all you are aiming to get into a bank or something like that, possibly you could try to search for any softwares which these banks use. There is enough data available. If at all you need help, I could also help you. I'll be happy, in fact, to help you. But learn about those softwares, understand about those softwares. Even if you understand it, read about it. You don't need to code, but if you just read it, if you are not a technical guy, if you read it, you'll understand it. What all features are there? What all components it is built with? What all aspects does it take care of? Functionally, non-functionally, all that. Even that will definitely help you preparing for an interview, as well as once you enter in that particular industry, right? So I would suggest that every candidate should have some I think 10 to 20% of your knowledge which is technologically driven, right? Of course, I'm sure we have our IMDR library to explore, to do coding if at all required. If at all you are able to build any apps yourself, whether you are able to build any online functions, please do that. Please explore, because that is really important. And it doesn't have to be in the emerging technologies. It can be in Java, .NET, or for that matter AS300 if required. But do that. Do explore that coding aspect, so that you learn through it, you understand the logic, how it is built, and then once you enter the corporate world, you will have a perspective to build on, right? You will not be new, or you will not be challenged by your teammates to say that, oh, isko technology kuch nahi aata hai, isko PPT banane ke liye bhejo. You will not face that, right? So that if you ask me, every job you'll do, whether you go in a bank, you know, go in a supply chain company, whether you go in an IT company, of course, but or whether you work in a manufacturing setup, anywhere you go, there is a percentage of IT that you will interface with, and be prepared for it if at all you have time now, is what my opinion is.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such
Yeah,
a informative session.
thank you very much for inviting me. It was a pleasure. I
Yes,
hope,
sir.
sorry for taking 34 minutes more or extra, uh, but it was a pleasure
No, sir.
talking to
Sir,
you all.
I would like to invite Archie to present the vote of thanks. Archie?
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikita. It's my immense pleasure to present vote of thanks, sir. This is Archie Jiwani, and on behalf of Deccan Education Society IMDR Pune, I would like to thank you for giving us time and inspiring us on your journey for pre and post COVID in UK. Your thoughts and experiences have really inspired us. As you mentioned in your talk about the IT industry, and you gave us your views on impact of COVID-19 on UK. You shared us about how this time can be utilized via spending time learning new things and doing the things that we couldn't do from so long and reskilling our skills. Your views on disruptions, and you covered the areas of political, economic, healthcare, and jobs area. You shared us about your views in comparison with India and China and their calibers. You also shared us about how Indian education is best according to you, how government has taken the measures in UK, and you shared some overall interesting facts. You shared some overall interesting facts about the current situation right now, and in the last, you advised how the technical skills and understanding them and knowing them is going to be helpful in the time ahead for us students. This piece of information is really helpful for us in our future endeavor. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank our director, faculty, non-teaching staff for continuously encouraging and supporting us for such corporate connect. I think the entire student organizing team, technical support, and last but not least, I thank all my student colleagues without whom the session wouldn't have been successful. Thank you all.
Yeah, and thank you very much for the
Thank
vote of thanks, and thanks for the opportunity, everyone, especially the students and the faculty. Thanks for listening and bearing with me for an hour and a half.
Sir,
Thank
it
you
was
so much,
very
sir.
enriching session, really.
Thank you.